Political shows have always been a topic that has confused me. When it comes to real-life political activity, it seems like I can't even force myself to pay attention to it for more than 3 minutes before my eyes roll into the back of my head, or I get distracted by this adorable golden doodle puppy. The premise of most political activity aren't all that interesting to me either, as it usually revolves around big bad government doing big bad thing, and then some rebel group led by a protagonist coming out of nowhere to take them down. There's also usually a scene where the bad guys are like, but are we really the bad guys? Which throws the main character into an existential crisis. They aim to be thought-provoking, yet one wrong step can make the entire show seem like some edgy fan fiction you could find on a forum somewhere. And while I'm always down for watching some entertaining trash, I don't know if the word good is how I would describe some of them. For one of these shows to make politics somewhat interesting to me, they have to do something different. Most good pieces of political entertainment tend to deviate from the norm somehow, adding their own spice to an overdone genre because, frankly, shit's boring. Two anime that immediately come to mind and that they are different from the norm are Iron-Blooded Orphans and Code Geass, the latter of which has one of the biggest plot twists in anime history, while the former has a protagonist that actually gets laid. Like most great shows, they somehow set themselves apart from the rest of the pack, and a newer show that I feel like has accomplished this is 86. This is a show I had high hopes going into, as Hiroyuki Sawano, aka Senor Bassdrop, was attached to the project. I'm willing to watch some pretty shitty shows as long as they have good music, since it makes them at least somewhat watchable for me. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about this, as the show ended up almost being as good as the music was. We're thrown into Nazi Germany, where people without pretty eyelashes get thrown into concentration camps, the chosen ones get to live out their lives drinking booze and eating cheese puffs, along with the brain-eating robots seeking to destroy everything that they hold dear to them. The main characters are Lena, one of the pretty eyelashers, and Sheen, aka The Undertaker, whose eyelashes are unfortunately a bit lacking. Anybody without the pretty eyelashes are forced to go and fight the previously mentioned brain-eating robots, since honestly, nobody else really wants to do it. This is exactly what Sheen and his island of misfit toys do, under the guidance of Lena, who somehow managed to become a major in the military as a child, because anime. The thing is, her guidance can only do so much, and as she watches them all fight for their lives, her nice words and cool hat can only do so much in the grand scheme of things. Now, some of you may be thinking that you know exactly how this plays out. Lena serves as the inside man and helps the ugly eyelashers to escape and find happiness somewhere else, while giving it to the man in the process. Nope, they pretty much just all die. The kids don't even want to fight back against their oppressors, as they know that by leaving the battlefield, not only would they probably just get run down by the angry robots, but everybody else inside the country would also face a terrible fate. They don't want that. Instead, they accept the fact that sometime soon, they're going to die out on that battlefield. We watch them laugh, cry, and try to live out the rest of their lives to the fullest, so that they don't have any regrets when it's their time to go. As you watch the crew turn to dust, you feel just as helpless as Lena does, hanging on to that sliver of hope that they will somehow make it out of this in one piece. The show had me feeling some type of way by the end of it all, and while it may be detrimental to my health, I would say that this show was pretty darn good. It did have some rough patches, with a couple of the action scenes being downright disorienting, not really being able to figure out what the hell it is that I'm watching on the screen. The music absolutely bopped, so much in fact that I found myself paying more attention to the jams rather than the story taking place in front of me, but that's a trade-off I'm willing to make. I was also surprised by how concise the entire show was. In 9 episodes, I feel like they were able to wrap the story up pretty nicely. Anime where you reach a satisfying conclusion are a rare commodity nowadays, as most are either left open-ended in hopes of getting another season, or just suck. I think 86 was pretty great, leaving room for another season while also not sucking massive cock. In fact, I would go out of my way and say that it's actually pretty neat. The show progressively gets better and better the more you learn about this world and its characters, and by the time the final end screen rolled, I realized that I was actually gonna miss this show. Luckily, second season got announced for this fall, so no worries there. It's definitely worth a watch for anybody on the edge, and in case that's not enough to convince you, here's another picture of the Golden Doodle, but this time with a hat photoshopped onto it. You're welcome.